A Nightmare on Elm Street 4 tells the story of how Freddy Krueger returned from the dead to terrorize the dreams of the remaining Dream Warriors, as well as the dreams of a girl who may be the key to stopping Freddy for good. So this film was directed by Rennie Harlan, and it stars Robert Englund, Lisa Wilcox, Danny Hassel, and Andres Jones. The Dream Master is an interesting film. On one hand, it resurrects the supposedly gone for good Freddy Krueger by having a fucking dog piss on his grave. But on the other hand, it's a very stylish film, and it's always interesting to look at. It's almost like a 1980s music video. So despite the fact that it's moronically stupid and really feels like it's succumbed to sequelitis, there's a lot more merit to this film than you might initially expect, even though I wouldn't say it's a good film overall. So to start with the good of this film, the dreams. The dreams here are still fantastic. All of the practical effects are phenomenal. The dreams are creative. They are surreal. They're all memorable. You've got the workout kill here, which in my book is an all-timer. You've got Freddy that just keeps constantly putting more weight on this girl, and her arms just snap at the elbows, and it's so gross. And then even worse, she turns into a fucking bug and just her skin all starts peeling off. It is nasty and disgusting and so weird and crazy that you're never gonna forget it. You've also got the asthma kill here, which is another fantastic kill. And it's an example of the kind of weird, surreal nature that this film goes for, where you've got this big classroom of students all doing an exam, and the only people that know what's going on is Alice and the girl that is being sucked to death by Freddy. So you've got this girl sitting in the middle of the classroom, basically being folded into a paper bag, almost like it's a paper bag that's getting all the air sucked out of it. And everyone else is just paying no mind. It's really interesting. And you've also got the scene where Alice gets sucked into the movie screen, which is a really cool part. Again, with that surrealness where no one takes notice of her literally being sucked into the screen. It's just weird. It's memorable. The fact that everyone just keeps watching the movie while this girl next to him, her popcorn and her drinks start being sucked into the screen, and then she eventually does. I really like that touch that it's happening in places around a lot of people, but no one pays any attention to it. I think it's really creepy and cool. I really like Freddy's death in this film too, especially the part where you basically get sucked through the hole in his body and you're basically going through this tunnel of all these children's souls. It's a really creative and cool and unique visual. I also really like the time loop sequence as well. Now, while some people may find it gets a bit repetitive, I think it's really cool because I feel like time is something that wasn't really played around with that much in any of the earlier Nightmare on Elm Street films. Of course, they can teleport from places and stuff like that. Well, Freddy can at least, but having these characters basically just go round and round in circles, I think it's a cool little gimmick to add to the film, and it makes it, again, surreal. That's the word that I would use to describe this film. This film is surreal. This film has a really cool 1980s music video feel to it. Again, it's very stylish, which you kind of expect from Rennie Harlan, but it works in this case, just gives it that more dreamlike, bizarre nature, and that music video aspect comes especially with the soundtrack and the kind of music that's used in this film. And it's not just the soundtrack, but even the lighting. Like, you think of this most recent viewing, I was like, holy shit, what the fuck is with that box office? It's just basically caked in green light. It's just so bizarre, neon 80s synth new wave lighting. I don't know, I wasn't around back then, but the ticket boxes certainly aren't that standout nowadays. For the small screen time that Joey, Kincaid, and Kristen get, they do a good job. And I'd just like to mention that Tuesday Night, I think, is good in this film. There's still a bunch of debate as to why Patricia Arquette didn't return for this film. I wish she did, but Tuesday Night does fine. And is her name actually Tuesday Night? Jesus fucking Christ, that's weird. Robert Englund still, for sure, gives it his best here. His performance is great. The character, not too sure about, but he's still here. He always gives it his best with what the script gives him. And finally, this is a weird one to end on, but this film is more than watchable. It's nothing terrible. I'd just like to say that because I do have a lot of problems with it, but it is definitely watchable. You can just watch it and enjoy it and turn your brain off, even though there is a lot wrong with it. And the first of many things that it does wrong is that it commits the cardinal sin of sequels. undermines the victory from the previous film. And it does so by killing the surviving characters from Dream Warriors at the start of this film. Joey, Kincaid, and Kristen are the only interesting characters in this film, and I mean the only ones. Joey and Kincaid go relatively early, and Kristen is gone by the halfway point, so you're basically left with no good characters after that. And I fucking hate when movies do that shit, when it's just, what a great victory, you really feel like you've earned it, and then the next movie they're just like, nope, fuck you. They did it with Alien 3 as well, and don't get me started on Alien 3, but that's definitely a worse example than this, but it just pisses me off when that happens. The rest of the characters may as well just be made out of cardboard. There is no life or personality to them. They give them little traits. One girl has asthma, one of them hates bugs, Alice has an alcoholic dad. It's just literally like, okay, we're going to give a name and a dot point, and that's all these characters have. And especially Alice, like, she's supposed to be our final girl. She is so wooden and just boring, and she speaks with such a monotone voice, like she doesn't give a fuck about anything. It's just, like, puts you to sleep watching her. The campiness in this film has been dialed up to what I would say is 11, but we still have Dreamchild and Freddy's Dead to go, so I'm going to say the campiness has been dialed up to 8, which is a dial or two too high for me. You've got the hello baby thing, which I just makes me cringe up every single time I watch it.
Hello, baby.
Then you've got all this weird karate, kung fu, Hoi-ya! Kind of stuff. It's just like, what the fuck? This is not the Matrix. I mean, like, what is going on here? Going on with that point, Freddy is far too goofy and not nearly scary enough in this film. It's just jokes every 2 seconds, it seems. Some of them do land, I'll admit that, but it just seems like it's too many. And just other things too that bother me, like when he puts the sunglasses on. It's just like, this is the evil, horrible dream demon. He's starting to feel like a Looney Tunes character, which he does eventually become, but it's just like little nuggets like that. It's just like, yep, that you went down that trail. That fucking, the sunglasses, that is why he became what he became in Freddy's Dead. It's because you put those out there and it becomes like a snowball. It all just bundles up into one. It's just, I wish Freddy was scarier in this film, and maybe it would have made for a better run of movies later on in the franchise. But this is where you can really see them start to drop the ball with Freddy. And the story in this film is complete trash. Like, my God. They go into all this mythology stuff, and they're talking about gates for the souls. They can go through the positive energy gate or the negative energy gate, and how that builds up. And then you've got this Dream Master bullshit where Alice is supposedly the Dream Master, and every single child that dies, her powers grow, and it becomes into this big final ultimate spell that she can use. And Freddy's been guarding his gate for too long, and eventually she can use the power from all the souls and everything that she's gotten transferred from Kristen and all the other people that have died to make him see the evil inside of him. It is nonsense. It's so annoying and difficult to keep up with. It's just like, oh my God, I don't care what the fuck is going on. So overall, this film works in individual sequences. It has some really cool, creative horror scenes that make the film worth watching just for those scenes alone. But due to a lack of barely any good characters and a completely nonsensical storyline, the film doesn't come together as a whole. It's very clearly just a showcase of effects work, which can be fun at times, and it is. I just wish that the characters and story had been given the same amount of care that the practical effects had been given. So The Dream Master is a film that is worth a watch, only with some friends. Thank you very much for watching my review on A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, The Dream Master. Let me know what you think of this film in the comments, and it's about to get ugly. I'll see you all later. Bye.